So the head of ABC has told the women of The View it's time to tone down the anti-Trump crap. Let's talk about it. So the past couple of years, the women of The View have made it abundantly clear they hate Donald Trump and they love everything the Democrats do. Now, the premise of the show was to give voice to women, even if they were left-wing or right-wing, and they would give their views on the show The View to counteract a male narrative that's out there. But the show hired some extreme left-wing personalities, and they've essentially taken over the show. Whatever Trump does is bad, whatever Biden does is good, and they kind of play it from those perspectives. So now when Trump won re-election, this is how the women of The View described it.
So what happened last night?
I think that his diehard fans don't care what he does. He lies and lies constantly.
I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off.
Think about this. She did this in 2 months. She was everywhere. She talked to everybody, and people didn't come out. I don't know why, and it doesn't even matter. He's now the president. I'm still not going to say his name. That's not going to change.
So as it says here, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, has told the host of the left-leaning daytime talk show The View to scale back their political commentary, particularly their frequent criticisms of President Trump, according to the report. The move has sparked tension behind the scenes at the show, whose outspoken panel has become known for tackling political issues head-on, the Daily Beast reported Wednesday. And just for reference, here is that Daily Beast article. Disney CEO told host of The View to tone down Trump bashing. And they go into it, as you can see here. Now, in February, the host of The View were told to tone it down and to go easy on Trump-related commentary leading up to the inauguration, but it doesn't seem like they heeded that warning. Now, the women of The View pushed back. They said it's an opinion show and that the co-hosts are paid to give their perspective on a variety of topics, including politics. Now, I want to make it very clear, The View's co-hosts were being encouraged by their bosses to implement a balance of the show and a balance of the topics. The changes were not really Trump specific, but just saying, just don't bash Trump all show. Let's mix it up a little bit. And that's because since Trump's return to the White House following the 2024 election, the co-hosts of The View have maintained a steady stream of commentary aimed at the administration's policies and rhetoric. And this is obviously simple, right? Because if you're only appealing to one side of the aisle, you're missing half the country. And ABC is into making money. Disney is into making money. And I'm thinking that they're looking long term and saying, hey, we want Republicans and Democrats to watch this show. This shouldn't just be a Democrat only show. We need these varying perspectives. That's why I think they want to shift the tone to hopefully increase the people who watch the show. So according to two sources cited by the Daily Beast, the boss of The View encouraged the co-hosts to increase focus on celebrity interviews and lifestyle segments because those were the ones that were performing well. And this was a suggestion that wasn't framed as a directive, but it still reportedly didn't sit well with the panel. Now, the women responded to these suggestions. One source said that Navarro pushed back, arguing that the viewers expect The View to have strong political commentary, especially during such a volatile political climate. This is what our audience wants, the source said, paraphrasing the group's response. Isn't it going to look kind of bad if we're all of a sudden not talking about politics? So now we have a kind of internal struggle because, as the New York Post reports, despite the push, the hosts have largely decided to continue doing their thing, one source said. Now, being anti-Trump hasn't hurt The View's ratings. Matter of fact, it says here, The View has remained a ratings draw for Disney's owned ABC. According to Nielsen ratings, the show was the top-rated daytime network talk and news program during the first quarter of 2025. So the anti-Trump stuff has been making them tons of money. People are watching. So it's not the ratings that are driving this need to be more balanced. The internal tension seems to come from the broader pressure on Disney from Trump and his allies. For example, in December, Disney agreed to pay a $16 million settlement, including $15 million to Trump's presidential library and $1 million in legal fees after former President Trump sued ABC over anchor George Stephanopoulos. For those of you who don't remember, Stephanopoulos incorrectly characterized a civil lawsuit against Trump by E. Jean Carroll as a rape conviction, but it wasn't. He was found guilty of sexual abuse.
Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape?
I just answered your question.
What is the answer?
He was not found guilty in a criminal court of law.
ABC's George Stephanopoulos repeatedly stated in this March interview with Congresswoman Nancy Mace that Donald Trump had been found liable for raping E. Jean Carroll when he had instead been found liable for sexual abuse. The network sued by Trump for defamation, now agreeing to make a $15 million donation to a future Trump Presidential Foundation and museum, and pay an additional $1 million to cover Trump's legal fees, and issue this statement of regret.
And ABC isn't the only one they're going after. Trump is also suing CBS and his parent company, Paramount Global, for $20 billion over a 60 Minutes interview with then Vice President Kamala Harris. And Fox News even got caught out there lying on behalf of Trump. They had to pay over $700 million for claiming the election was stolen, even though they had clear evidence it wasn't.
This morning, Fox News is paying Dominion Voting Systems more than $787 million to settle a 2-year legal dispute over amplifying 2020 election fraud allegations it knew to be false.
All right, so what do I think about this story? No, number one, this is not about money. The reason why we know it's not about money is because the View's ratings are great for them being anti-Trump. So this is not about cash. What I do think this is about is the network having some credibility amongst the viewing public. If you're going to do a show called The View but only give one perspective, then that kind of defeats the purpose of the show. And I think Bob Iger is looking to the future of ABC and Disney. I think he wants to get them out of this, hey, they're just woke Democrats in neutral clothing, and make the network seemingly more neutral and more balanced in its coverage of news and opinions. Now, if I really wanted to change the tone of The View, I would take, unfortunately, I feel sorry for the conservatives that are on there, those fake conservatives off, and I would put some real conservatives on, people who won't just be pushed over because someone said something. Laura Ingraham, Megyn Kelly, even Candace Owens would be a refreshing view on that show because it would give a separate perspective, and she would be able to challenge these other points being made on behalf of the Democrats. But at the end of the day, do you think the women of The View will be able to follow this new directive? I don't think they will. I think it's going to come to a head where they're going to want to say, like, we want to bash Trump all the time, and these are our opinions, so what are you going to do? And eventually, I think moves are going to have to be made, because there's no way the women of the View, as constituted now, are going to go into this, we are going to pretend that Trump doesn't exist, or we're going to be okay with what Trump does. That's just not going to happen. They're going to continue the anti-Trump stuff until they're forced to do something about it. Now, if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section, because I think that's exactly where this is going. So for those of you who are listening to my voice now, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. If you haven't, hit the subscribe button and you're listening to me now. Come on, you're killing me. And for those of you who have, thanks again, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.